Previously on Anything Goes.
And this is no disrespect to him, but his big closer was something that I think I've seen around before. It was like he'd hold up signs with translations of Southern sayings.
Okay.
Like we had to drive like 2 hours to get to this place to do this one-nighter. And the entire way down, Batch is just sort of like, I don't know how the fuck people get on Letterman. How do you get on fucking Letterman? I've been doing this 15 years. Who makes those fucking choices? I deserve it. I don't know how to fucking get on Letterman. I mean, like 2 hours of that. And we get to this club, and it's a little awkward because it's a one-nighter. There's only like 12 people there, and I do my time, and I do everything. I'm still working off of paper because I'm just starting out and trying to do my 30. And I do okay with the 10 people that are there, however many. And then I get off, I bring Batch up, and I go to the bathroom, and I don't know what's happened between bringing him on stage and me going to the bathroom, but I walk out, and he's on stage yelling at these 9 people the same shit he was yelling at me in the car. You think I don't want to be on Letterman? How the fuck do you get on Letterman? Why the fuck am I here? And it's awkward, and it's uncomfortable, and he's fucking 10 minutes in. And I've never done this before that, and I've never done it again, but I literally stepped into the middle of this small audience and Bob, and I said, let's take a break. All right, let's just reassess where we're at right now. Let's take a break. And Bob, just settle down. You people, everything's okay. And it's really awkward, and he's up there like, well, I don't know what the fuck to do. I'm like, well, what the fuck am I going to do now? And I, it's really weird. And I go, Bob, do the signs.
Yeah. To your closer.
Yeah. And he's like, really? You think that's going to work? I'm like, just do the signs. And let's just try to rejigger it. So he did, and it worked out okay.
And now, let's get to a new exciting show.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Are you ready for some laughs? Are you?
Don't touch that dial. It was molested, and it brings back horrible memories. This is Anything Goes with Darren Frost,
How the fuck am I funny?
Dave Martin,
What have we got here? A fucking comedian.
and Kathleen McGee.
And I'll execute every motherfucking last one of you!
Can you dig it?
I feel like I should wear a darker shirt.
Too late. I look like the A&W root bear.
The root bear?
Yeah, the root bear with his orange sweater.
Oh man,
There we go.
that guy has one of the best gigs in the world.
Sure.
Oh my god.
The bear or the guy with the A&W commercials?
The guy with the A&W commercials. The bear's real. I mean,
Well,
there's no one climbing. I'm in that suit. I should get more money.
yeah, but wouldn't you want to be in the suit so that like you're nobody can knows it's you, but you're making a shit ton of money?
I don't think the guy in the suit is making a shit ton of money. They can get anyone to be in that suit.
Maybe.
Trust me, I was the Beasley Bear at the for about an hour at the when I worked at Centerville. So nobody knows who's in the bear suit. No one's like,
Let me explain.
You're
You
the
guys,
best dancing bear ever. We're gonna give you the big bucks. You deserve it. No, you
I'll let you guys talk. I'm actually the expert in mascots. I've been paid a lot of money.
but your face was in it. You could
That's
see your,
the difference.
Yeah.
The difference is my voice and face. The second you can see your voice and face or hear your real voice, that's when they make the real money. If you can't, they're making no money. They're
Well, what
making
about-
extra.
What about
Well,
like
I mean, they would make
the
scale.
raptor or something? What about that raptor guy? What about the ones that will do like stunts? They gotta get paid at least a little bit more.
Oh, I think those guys, but it's not. They're not like those. They're athletic guys that are in
Yes.
those outfits that have to be able to dance around for a whole game. But I
John
mean,
Palmer did a debaters about mascots, and it was in Prince George. And like for a joke, they had whatever the Prince George hockey team mascot come and like attack him on stage. And Sean was like, "Oh, we were just gonna have fun," but then he said that the mascot was like really beating him up, so he started going really hard on the mascot too. So it was that was like a very funny debaters.
So when-
well,
Years ago, I used to work for the beer festival, and one year they a bunch of drunks rolled McGruff the crime dog in his outfit and rolled him down the hill at the fort. And Johnny Gardos had to take him to the police, like to give a statement. and the guy's like crying, like upset, and like Johnny's trying not to laugh because in a way it's it's horrible, but it's still kind of funny. Like
it's very funny.
Yeah, they're drunk and they're just shit kicking a mascot. Like you're the mascot, sucks to be you, but and then they rolled me down the hill and I couldn't get up, and like.
Well, I worked at Beer Festival with. Scott would get a bunch of comics to do sort of like a lot of the grunt work at that festival. Yeah. And the one gig that I found out that I love to do was at the end of the festival, you would go to where the parking was.
Yes.
And it would just be like this wave of the most drunk people that had been outside in the sun all day with nowhere to sit down other than the ground. And then they get people to do sports and activities and such. And so people would just be shit-faced, and people are like, hey, I'm not going to spend money on food. I'm just going to keep drinking beer all day.
Right.
And so you would just get these obnoxious, drunk people coming down. And there was one time that I remember that, like, I guess there was like 3 buddies, and one guy went to go and use an outhouse, and then his other 2 buddies thought it would be hilarious if we pushed over the outhouse while the guy was in it.
Yeah.
And so we could hear, I could hear on the walkie-talkie that, and I was there actually with Rodney Pentland, I could hear on the walkie-talkie that someone was like, yeah, there are 3 guys fighting with each other that are walking towards the gates, and they're going to leave and get in a cab, and just make sure that they get in a cab and nothing else, and they don't start any shit with anyone else. And then we found out, and then first of all, we were sort of like, how are 3 guys fighting at the same time, right? And then it turns out there was just the one guy who got pushed over in the outhouse, and he's drenched up to his fucking waist with other people's shit and piss all day.
Yeah.
And so this one guy is fighting with his 2 friends, and I guess by the time they got to where we were, the one guy was like, all right, I'm covered in shit, big deal. But it was just the most obnoxious thing. It was quite hilarious to watch. It was the most fun to be like.
The thing about drunks is they do want to do 1 of 3 things: drink, fuck, or steal. Because that was the other problem at the beer festival at closing time. People would just start stealing shit left, right, and center, like banners and posters and like a small table. They don't even want it. They just want to steal it to get it out, to say that they stole it. And then, look at me, and then just throw it down and walk off.
I know, it's like a trophy. Like, look what I got.
I've never stolen anything. Have you guys ever stolen anything like that?
Oh, fuck yeah.
I stole an A&W root beer mug.
Right.
Oh, I've come home with many a pint glass that I thought was like a big treasure. That I need this.
Right. I never have.
Oh, Kathleen's still talking to us.
Oh. No. It cut out.
Literally next to the router.
There we go.
Okay.
There we go. Now it's back.
All right.
So, Rugby Fest, and they had this party in a park where you would pay $20, like when it first started, and you would just get to go. They'd give you a glass mug, and everyone would just drink beer out of a reefer truck until the kegs were gone. Like they'd bring in 50 kegs.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And one time there was like a pitcher, and these people were like making these rugby boys chug a pitcher. So there was a lineup for that, and then there was a lineup for the garbage to throw up in, and literally they were waiting until their turn to throw up. Like it was
very organized. That is very organized.
That was some organized binge drinking. But that was like always ridiculous. And then they finally were like, well, maybe we shouldn't have glass mugs anymore because people would get drunk and like smash each other and like cheers and like cuts everywhere. So they turned plastic after a while. But yeah, that was like always like blackout drunk central. It was very fun. But like, yeah, people get ridiculous when they are overserved. Like ridiculous.
Well, I mean, was there anyone ever get, when the beer fest happened at Old Fort York, did anyone get caught fucking, or?
Oh yeah. There was situations where people are trying to fuck behind the outhouses, I think. And that's normal. I get it. People get drunk, they start making out, they forget where they are.
Right.
But this idea of just stealing something for a trophy. I get a mug. A mug you can keep and you got a story. I'm talking about shit you can't carry that far. Like, you just get it to outside and go, yeah! And then just fuck off. Like, it just...
Well, I've seen those patio umbrellas.
Yes, like that kind of shit. You know, like security would just be like, I'm not going to chase them because I know they can't carry it that far. They're going to give up, and then they're going to go, and then run off. And that's exactly what they would do.
Right, yeah. No, I remember, well, there was like, I remember at that beer fest, there was someone that stole like a big, gigantic thing of like popcorn. It was like a bag that like they would pre-make and then just get ready. And then, you know, when they got low, they would just serve that shit. But like someone swiped this massive bag and there was like a hole in the end of it. So there literally was a trail of popcorn that the guy didn't know. And then by the time the actual guy got to the gate, it was like a quarter full. And then he just threw it on the ground and he had like popcorn in his mouth, face and shit. But
that's the shortest episode of Law and Order ever.
Yeah.
I saw a homeless man in Toronto. Why is it with Toronto and giant bags of popcorn? Because I saw a homeless man in Toronto walking in like near like Church and Wellesley area, and he had a huge popcorn bag, and he just looked like the happiest man on earth. Like he was
probably stole it. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's amazing what you think is sort of valuable, or like I'm gonna need this one day, or I'm gonna take this. This is mine. But you know.
About Mascots, I just gotta bring us back to Mascots because Andrew Iwanek, we both know him. Andrew Iwanek was a comic in Edmonton, and for a while he was the manager of Mascots for West Edmonton Mall. So he was in charge of like hiring people to be in Mascots and then sending them out for the day. And he sometimes wanted a mascot costume himself, and he said it was always weird because kids would run up and hug you, but like their head would literally be at crotch level.
Yes.
He would be like, I don't know what to do. But one time he borrowed one of the costumes and brought it to the comic strip and went on stage as this penguin. And he was interviewing a girl from the audience on stage. He brought her up on stage so you could hear his voice, but like he was in a penguin costume. And he was asking her questions, and then he asked her this one question. He'd been up there for about 4 minutes, and she kind of was like thinking about the answer. And he goes, "Would you hurry the fuck up? It's hot in here." And he came off stage and he took the mascot costume off and he was drenched, like soaked in sweat. Like I've heard stories about like Disney mascots vomiting inside of those things and they can't take the heads off because like imagine being at Disneyland and Goofy takes his head off and freaks the shit out of kids.
Yeah,
oh yeah.
Yeah, that's one of the big Disney rules is you can't take off your mascot. When I think I lasted about an hour and a half when I was in high school. I had a job as a ride operator at the over on the Toronto Island, and so for about an hour and a half, I wore the Beasley Bear outfit, and it has like a little fan inside of it that sort of cools you down a bit. But for them, I mean, you don't look out of the eyes, you look out of the mouth. That's where the mesh is. But yeah, you'd see kids just running up to you, and they would just hug you, and you didn't know what to do, so you just kind of pat them on their head and be like, okay, all right. But it takes a lot of patience to be in one of those things, and man, it is not an easy way to make a buck.
Well, I mean, there's the famous story of the Mickey Mouse smacking the kid because he was hungover or whatever, and he just wouldn't, this kid wouldn't leave him alone, so he's turned around and whacked the kid, and the family sued and got tons of money for it because it's wrecked the image of Mickey Mouse in that kid's head.
Oh, shut up! They won a lawsuit over that. I fucking can't stand these stupid lawsuits. I'm traumatized for life because Mickey beat the shit out of me because I was being a little shithead.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the kid's not going to look back on it like that. It's like, well, I was being a little shithead. So.
Of course he's not. Of course he's not. And his parents are probably like, he was just being a little angel.
Yeah.
Oh, well, yeah, of course. Of course they were. All kids are angels.
Yeah, except for all the kids that don't belong to you.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Yeah,
fuck all those kids.
Yeah.
Fuck all those kids.
Yeah.
So did you guys see the thing I posted? # Blue Lives Matter. BLEW.
No, I didn't.
Where? Well, there's a story out of Tonawanda. I'm still trying to figure out if it's true or not.
Where's Tonawanda?
Tonawanda.
It's around Buffalo. It's like one of the suburbs of Buffalo. It's like a Scarborough or a Surrey, BC. It's like It's just it's a constant punchline of a lot. They always have a fire there, and it's just classic. It's like a suburb of Buffalo, really. You know.
Yeah. So you ready for this story? I don't know if this is true or not, but I got to put my reading glasses on.
It looks like a legit. It looks like a legit site, though.
I know it. I looked it up. It's not a parody site. That's why I did look that up. So. Several town of Tonawanda residents are pushing the town board to change its policies to allow officers to receive sexual gratuities while on duty. The policy would not allow officers to request the gratuities under any circumstances, but in the event that such a non-monetary gratuity is offered, the officer would not be punished for accepting it as long as the encounter is less than 15 minutes, which we know it would be under 15 minutes at the cop. And
how good you are.
Yeah, and the officer declines to take his next scheduled 15-minute break.
That's amazing. You know what? I'm sure that happens more than we realize. Like, one of my favorite shows is, I think it was on Live PD, and there was this woman that was blackout drunk, and she was found in the kitchen of a bar.
Yeah.
And she was like lying there, and this cop squatting down next to her, and he's talking to her, and she goes, "Hey, can I mess with your dick?" And then he's like, "No, you can't mess with my dick." And then she goes, "Okay." And then she pukes everywhere. It was so good. And I've also seen like one where a woman's pulled over for a DUI, and she says, "Is there any way that I can solve this with sex?"
Right. Yeah.
Here it happens.
So, you know, it's obviously a very funny thing, but someone brought up, I posted online, and Lucy Gervais said, they're only doing this so rape accusations from detained women hold no teeth, which I felt was a very interesting thing.
Right.
That's a very good angle. I never even thought of that. It's like, now they're going to use it like, oh, no, she offered it to me, so I did it.
I mean, I don't think if you're working and somebody offers to have sex with you, I don't think you should be allowed to do it. Unless you're...
What job can you just say that? There's no job. They can just say, "Hey, boss, I'm going to go fuck for 15 minutes. I'll be right back." What job do you have?
Stand-up comedians can do that.
Well, you should be allowed to. I've always been pissed at, like, why is it that we give cigarette smokers this sort of carte blanche to go off every half hour or hour to go out and have a cigarette? I mean, a cigarette takes about 7 to 8 minutes to smoke, and that is like, can you think of any other vice that we just sort of give this, like, oh, you need a cigarette break? It's like cigarettes and going to the bathroom. But I mean, it's honestly, if someone's going to go off for 15 minutes or 8 minutes or whatever it takes to go and masturbate, and then they're going to come back to their job and do a better job, shouldn't they be allowed to do it?
Yes.
I have a friend that said that because he hated smoke breaks, he's like, I would go into the bathroom and jerk off.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, he literally would do that. He's like, I'm using just as much time as the smokers, and fuck them. They go every fucking hour. Oh, it's my smoke break. Oh, it's my smoke break. Like, I know that's always been annoying to me because I've never been a smoker, and it's like, even when I worked at a call center, they kind of got more breaks if they were a smoker, and I'm like, why? That's fucking ridiculous.
I never understood why we're catering to that vice. I mean, and honestly, if smoking relaxes you, I mean, fucking jerking off makes use your head a whole lot more too. You know, I think it's the old Joe Rogan joke of like, before you make any big decision, go and jerk off and come back to the decision and see if you're like, hey, do you think you need a new car? Do you think you need a new computer? Go and jerk off and then come back and be like, maybe I'm okay with my computer, okay? Or maybe I'm okay with whatever this is. But the idea that, like, I don't know. But are they saying that like cops can they can't ask for it?
No.
Right.
But if the woman says, is it to get out of a ticket, though? Is she...
Well, this is the thing. I think what it is, I'm sure this happens. Some women are attracted to cops. I get it. So during the course of their day, they may have this opportunity where women are like, hey, let's go fool around or something. I'm sure that's happened a little bit in their career. But is it enough to actually have a formal thing where it's like, okay, you can now go and fuck for 15 minutes? Or is it, like you said, women are offering to get out of tickets, or guys are offering to get out of tickets?
And often they're drunk.
Which means they can't really give consent.
Exactly, which has become a huge issue where, like, I mean, everybody 10, 20 years ago, you were at a bar and you got somebody drunk and you went home with them. Right. But nowadays, it's like, no, that's kind of like most of the time, if somebody's blackout drunk, they don't know what they're doing.
Right.
So I think that's also, you're right. That is like a cop out for cops to be like, oh no, I didn't assault her. She asked for it. She started away.
Yeah.
Like, it's terrible.
Like, I mean, Dave, you've been blackout drunk. How many cops have you blown?
Oh, 3 or 4 at least.
Exactly. That's why you still have your license. You have your license still.
Yeah, I know. Well, no.
What you did to the Muskoka Comedy Festival when you locked yourself out of your room?
Yeah, there's that time. Yeah. But I didn't hurt anybody. I was just myself.
Yeah, you're just sleeping in front of the motel. It wasn't even a hotel. It wasn't even a covered hallway. You were just sleeping in front of your outdoor door.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think that picture must be is on my Facebook somewhere. But if you notice that I took off my glasses and I folded them and I put them on the ledge. And I think I took my watch and my rings off and I put those on the ledge as well. So it was a very drunken James Bond sort of like responsible blackout moment that I had. So
I always love when drunken Kathleen takes care of next morning Kathleen. Like when I wake up and I wash my face, I'm like, good for you. Thank you, drunken Kathleen.
Oh yeah, no. I have a joke about it. How it's like when you get home and you just all your stuff is laid out perfectly in a row. That you just took all that time to just put like in. I would like to have that videotaped somehow. Just like what does that actually look like? Someone who's clearly not remembering anything, but still sort of subconsciously.
Oh, Dave, I have a video. I have a video of you from Vegas when we went. And we went and saw Raiding the Rock Vault, and everybody's supposed to sit down and just, be behaved. And you stood up and started dancing around and pumping the air with your fist like this the whole concert. Yeah. And I don't know if you remember this. At the end of the show, you're pretty drunk. And at the end of the show, this old woman came up and said, "You know what? You were better than the concert." And you went, "Yes, I was." And you're like,
Well, I might have been. Yeah. Okay. Well, I like.
I have that video. I have it if you want it.
Oh, trust me. There's a video from of me dancing on Fremont Street.
Oh, I've seen that.
Was that I was there for that when you got that jacket?
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Do you still have that jacket?
Huh?
Do you still have that jacket?
Of course I do. I don't throw things out.
All right.
There was like a guy. I remember that night on the Fremont Strip. There was a guy that asked me if I wanted to buy any powder from him. And if you look at the video, that is a video of a guy that clearly doesn't need any more drugs powder or booze in him. He is fine on his own. So it was just like, I mean, I'm not going to say,
slow dancing with a girl in a wheelchair? Didn't you start dancing with a girl in a wheelchair that was walking by or something? Or?
Oh no, she was dancing. She was sort of as much as you can dance in a wheelchair.
Yeah, of course.
She was having fun, and I think I kind of lap danced her a little bit. So,
fuck.
It's all out there. It's all a good time.
Yeah, you know about disabled rights, Dave. That's your thing. I know that.
Now I was just curious, like if there was a female officer.
Right.
I know that guys sometimes will be like, they'll either jerk off or they'll have sex or something, and then just to clear their heads, and then I can get back to work. But I mean, I don't know. Like, do women have that same sort of thing of just like?
I'm sure that female cops get propositioned all the time, but it's disgusting.
Right.
And they're
right.
No.
I mean, it wouldn't be like, okay, how about I'll eat your pussy if this ticket goes away or something like that.
Yeah, it's not like you're arresting like super hot guys that have their shit together either. Like at least women have some level of standards. Guys will just fuck. They don't care. They don't care if she's a crack whore, if she's another. They don't care. But women do actually well, no, this guy is clearly addicted to drugs, and I don't need to get messed up with this idiot.
Right. Yeah. I mean,
that's why I always was attracted to men that wore Carhartts, because I was like, well, that guy's got a job and he probably has benefits. He has a good job.
So just show up at a bar that you're at in a pair of coveralls, and he's like, well, he's got a job. He works at a garage at least, or maybe. Yeah. Well,
somebody said once, any guy can buy a suit, and I'm like, I guess any guy can go to Mark's Work Warehouse and buy Carhartts.
Yeah. Well.
Yeah, and me, I would have banked anyone with the Air Canada pin.
Yeah.
Oh fuck! Oh, can I get the buddy pass?
Yeah.
Oh shit! All right.
Yeah. That would be I know a lot of male comics want to either date and marry lawyers or flight attendants. That's always who I find the guys are going after, and which is smart. I mean, you're either going to need a lawyer at some point or some free flights.
Right.
I had a buddy pass for a summer because my friend works for WestJet and she broke up with her boyfriend. She's like, well, do you want it? And I was like, yes.
Yeah.
And I flew to Charlottetown from from Vancouver for $30.
Right.
It's crazy.
Right, but don't you have to like sort of stand by? Aren't you on like?
Yeah, but like I was always on every single flight.
Yeah.
If you're flying like somewhere like Hawaii, it's different. Like those are usually quite full or something. But Charlottetown, or if you're just going, like I flew all over Canada that summer just to go places, and it was totally worth it. Like I would love to work for WestJet or something, but they're not easy to get in with.
And I think nowadays the idea of being a flight attendant would just be a fucking nightmare of just telling people to put masks on and behaving themselves. And
Well, WestJet, did you hear what WestJet's doing? They, as of tomorrow, if you do not wear your mask or if you won't comply, they will kick you off the flight if it's on ground. And then if you're taking it off on the air, you'll be escorted off immediately once it lands, and then you get a year ban.
Wow.
From WestJet, you can't fly with them because they're like, we don't want to deal with that anymore. We're trying to contain this. I don't care what your fucking weird ass conspiracy theory is on this whole thing. Like, we're protecting our other customers because that's what we think is right. And it's great. I think it's awesome. And I just flew from Winnipeg on WestJet, and it was like, I got the emergency row there and back, and it was empty. And then the flight from Calgary to Edmonton, though, was full, and I was sitting next to a man-spreader who was like, hey, I can't help it, my balls are just so big.
Did he say that? He didn't say that.
No, he thought it, though. I could tell.
That's his attitude, yeah.
Yeah.
I looked over at him. I'm like, what are you doing? And then he's just like sitting there with his legs spread wide open. I'm like, you're just a fucking asshole.
I don't understand. Like, if you don't believe in masks, that's fine. But why are you arguing in a situation where nothing's going to change in that moment? Yeah. Like, if you don't believe it, but you know that's that person's job to make sure you wear it, and they're only getting, like, it's like the grocery store analogy. The kid's making $15 an hour just stocking shelves. He doesn't want to fight with a 40-year-old dude going, it's a conspiracy. It's like, dude, I don't care if it is or not. It's my job.
You're a sheep.
Yeah. First of all, if you ever use sheep or sheeple, you're a fucking idiot, as far as I'm concerned. You're a fucking cunt.
Well, isn't there a comic with a whole like album about sheeple?
Yes.
There was, I don't know. I saw something of just like all the people who are so anti-masks are also all the people that just say, why don't those people just behave and do what the police tell them to do?
Yeah, it's
like that weird parallel. Right. It's like, okay, well, so you're anti-masks and you don't. It's also a testament that you don't care about other people, and you don't realize that this is private property and this is the store's policy. It's like, are you still protesting the no shirt and no shoes thing? It's like, well, you fucking idiot. It's just like, just go do your shit and then, and then leave. Then take your fucking mask off. But it's like all those people are just like, I'm not going to mask. And then it's just, well, why don't those black people just behave? And just,
why don't they stop tearing down our statues? And why don't they stop? How dare you tear down that statue of Sir John A. Macdonald? I'm like, well, I mean, he did contribute to the genocide of Native people. So I mean, I get that he was one of the founding fathers of Canada, but he was also a piece of shit. And all these people, we can't deny our history. I'm like, then don't deny it. Then say, he did murder a lot of people for the benefit of the European people that had moved there.
Yes, and he called them savages. It's in multiple places where he used that exact word. That's not new.
Yeah. I know, but I mean, at the same time, it's sort of like we can't apply the standards of today to people, hundreds of years ago.
No, of course not.
That was the sort of the norm, and and also I don't think John A. Macdonald sat down to really get to know any natives either. So it's sort of like, if you kind of keep your distance away from all these people for your whole life, they're always going to appear to be what you originally thought they were. So it's like, I mean. It's just, well, when they tore down a statue of Frederick Douglass, which I didn't think was sort of like, really? It's like one of the most predominant, black men in American history, and you're tearing down that statue. But, it's...
I think they just take down all statues. Fuck it, take them down. Who cares?
Well, just, or put them in a museum, or just find some land and put up I don't think that they should tear, they should just, if they're going to take down those Confederate statues in the South, take them down and then put them in a museum somewhere or put them in a big field.
And explain what they did, good and bad. I think
that's my argument. I don't have a problem with the statues as much as then put up a plaque that says your point of view, that why you think it's wrong, and put him in somewhere, like you said, a museum that has both sides of the argument, and then people can go and do their own research and make their own decisions.
Yeah.
Right.
Just providing one, which is what most of these statues do, is not appropriate.
Right. Yeah. Well, it's the same thing with all these people that are sort of like, you know, that one kid that showed up with the rifle at the at that march, or not the march, but the protest after the man was
talking
shot.
about Kyle, the 17-year-old Kyle,
Yeah.
right?
It's all the people that are showing him sort of scrubbing graffiti, and then they show him with the rifle walking down the street. It's sort of like, you know, I mean.
Did you see the video where he beat up a girl?
Yes, I saw that one too.
I have not seen it.
He was in a fight with a girl, and there were these I think they were black people, and they were filming it, and they were like, oh, he's going after these girls. And then he started to chase these girls and punch them in the face. And then the black guys got out of the car and went after him and attacked him. Like, you don't beat up women.
Yeah.
Right.
And this kid's a piece of shit. He is a piece of shit. You bring a weapon to a protest, and you're a white little puke, and you bring it to a Black Lives Matter protest, and you don't expect people to jump on you? Because look at the climate in America right now with all the shootings. If he was in a shopping mall or if he was in a school, he'd be the devil. But because he went to a Black Lives Matter protest and some of the protesters attacked him or whatever happened, he's a hero to some people, which I find extremely disgusting. I hope he gets put in jail. I hope he gets put in jail for a very long time, because this kid is just going to get worse.
Well, to me, the whole argument starts with probably the worst parenting on the planet, because the mother drove him there knowing that she was going across state lines, knowing that that gun wasn't legally his, and then put him in a situation where he might have to use that gun. So I do not defend him whatsoever, but I still believe at 17, you're not going to make the smartest decisions.
Yeah, you're not going to make smart decisions, but I think at 17, you probably got to, well, I mean, who the fuck knows? I mean,
What I'm saying is, I'm not saying he doesn't deserve to go to jail. What I'm saying is, you know, he listens to his mother, and if his mother is the one bringing him somewhere, she has to have also some culpability in what went down in that situation, because she drove him there, knew what was going on, and put his kid in harm's way. That's a horrible, horrible thing. Do I think he deserves some kind of penalty? 100%. Do I think it's murder? I don't know until I see all the tapes and all the angles and all the information.
Shot somebody in the head in front of a bunch of people. That is murder. That's murder. That's not self-defense. That's murder.
It's not self-defense, but there's multiple different accusations of what actually went down there, and we're trusting the media to tell us only one side. That is also a problem.
well,
There's
yeah.
multiple accounts.
I've been reading posts from people that were physically there. Like, I've been reading not from the media, from their social media. And, yeah, the media has their own way of telling different things. And if you watch Fox, it's one story. And if you watch a different one, it's a different story. But there are stories from people that were physically there that said, yeah, this kid came out. He had a gun. People were upset and they jumped on him. He shot people, so they got even more upset. Then they started pointing to him and telling the cops, "There's the shooter."
Yes, I know that. Yeah.
The kid went home and went to bed.
Yeah, I know the whole
And then
story.
sleep.
Yeah.
So fuck that kid. Fuck him. Fuck his family. Fuck the people that think that he's this innocent little angel. Oh, he was just trying to clean up his city. Shut the fuck up.
Well,
Well, I don't
his
believe
city.
that. I don't believe that
I know
one bit.
I'm just saying people do, and it's
Yeah.
gross.
Yeah.
It's like,
I don't believe that, but I don't believe it's 100% that kid's fault. That mother did a very bad thing as well.
but that kid has to be accountable. I'm sorry. I don't care if you're a little kid.
I
You have to
didn't say he's not accountable. I said the mother is also accountable.
Yeah.
She was the one who drove him there across state line with an illegal gun. There has to be some kind of, because right now the mother is going to be seen as a hero. She took her son. I'm sure the right is probably going, you gave up your son for the rights, and I can just see all the fucking bullshit that's going on there.
Like, I'm not even that far left. You know, I feel like I'm kind of left center, but I just can't even, I can't even believe that there are people that are like, no, he didn't that was not murder. He didn't do it. It wasn't murder. I'm like, he physically did it. People saw him do it. How can you defend this guy? And then when you say you're defending someone that's a murderer, oh no, I'm not defending him. I'm just saying it could have been self-defense. I'm like, but it wasn't. There's no way that was self-defense. He knew exactly what he was doing. He took a gun to a protest. He wanted to create violence. He did it, and he killed 2 people. And now he goes to jail and he pays for it for the rest of his dumb fucking life. Like I'm so done.
Yeah, I mean, but at the end of it, you got. I mean, there's the court of public opinion, and also there's the court of 12 people and a judge that has to make a decision, and they're going to. There'll be enough.
Dead. There are 2 people that are dead.
I know, but they'll make a case that he got attacked and that he was self-defending himself, and that once the shots were fired, he got up and he walked towards the police and he called 911 saying, "I shot someone," and you see these cop cars and these tanks that come by. And they're asking him, what is there? Were there shots this way? At that point, the cops didn't know what was going on. But I mean, and they never shot the kid because the kid wasn't shooting at other cops. I mean, he shot the 3 people, and then he sort of just got up and he kept walking. But I mean, yeah, there's a distinct sort of difference between.
Even if you shot someone, Dave. Even if you shot someone, you go towards the police and you're like, I just shot someone. Well, you just killed somebody.
Yeah. They'll find a manslaughter charge from him, but I mean, murder is always they have to make like he intended on killing someone beyond self-defense. I'm not saying that I agree with anything that happened, but I worry that when I don't think that those cops that killed George Floyd will get charged, and that's another wave. That's going to be like another Rodney King riot because they'll find out they'll have. George Floyd had this in his system. He had that in his system. He had fentanyl. He had all these other things. And
well, then maybe we should start using that against the white people that are committing crimes too. Like there's a lot of people that are saying like, this kid has a troubled past. This kid has a violent past. This was this, and he did that, and he was doing this. So like, yeah, let's hold everything against him now. Let's hold every decision he's ever made in his life against him in this one moment, because that's what they're doing to black people. Well, this guy was.
He was a pedophile. He was on rape and all this. And it's like, my attitude is that has no bearing on whether he should be shot or not. Police should not have the right to just shoot because they're a pedophile. That's what court is for. The law is for. That is what we're supposed to do. And to give that power to police is just too much.
Well, also, I mean, it's that with that. I don't know how any. Well, I mean, just that awful fucking cunt, Candace Owens. Who when as soon as the George Floyd thing happened, like 2 days later, she gave this big long argument about who George Floyd was as a person, and she just talked about his criminal past and all this bullshit and stuff. But it's like those
personally, that's another thing. She didn't know him personally.
No, she didn't. But she said all this shit from his past and about his record and stuff like that. But all the cops that had his knee on George Floyd's neck didn't know any of that shit.
Right.
And same thing with the kid that shot those people in the with the kid that we were just talking about, the Kyle kid. He didn't know that the people that are attacking him were former pedophile sex offenders and things like that.
Yeah.
You can't go looking into someone's past after they've gotten shot and then start giving that person credit for taking out all these supposedly horrible.
I also think there's the case of the guy getting shot 7 times in the back, and there's all these theories and arguments from the police saying, oh, he had a knife, he did this, we tased him 3 times, this. Okay, then why were your body cameras not on?
Yeah.
There's no body cam footage that's been put forward yet by the police substantiating anything that they've claimed. And you can't trust the police because they have a history of fucking lying and hiding evidence and producing evidence that wasn't there. So that's why, in my opinion, if you do not have your body camera on, you should not be able to say anything. Nothing you say should be allowed to be admissible.
Well, I mean, the police did go there knowing about his record and the sexual abuse and assaults that the guy had.
The guy that shot in the back? The guy that they shot in the back, he was breaking up a fight. They didn't know anything about it.
No, he was called there by the woman that he'd abused sexually and assaulted previously, and he'd been let out of jail, and she took her keys, and he'd been tased like twice, and and he was able to fight off 2 cops, and the cops did say, don't stop, and I mean, you know,
Seven times you're going to shoot someone 7 times in the back.
Well, you know what? If they shot, they shot him 7 times and he's still alive. He's paralyzed and he's handcuffed to his bed, which I don't understand.
He's still alive after being shot in the back 7 times. Shoot him in the knee if you want him to not get away, or shoot him. You don't go shoot someone in the back 7 times.
Well, often cops are told that you have to unload your clip into someone and make sure they shoot to kill. If he had a gun in that, or if he had a knife.
If there was no proof that he had a gun, they say that he said that. Show me the evidence that he said that, because I can't trust them saying that he actually said that. Show me someone that's a pedestrian to that situation that will say, I heard him say I'm going to get a gun, and then we can maybe talk about that. But I still don't agree with that they let him go around the vehicle and all 3 of them just didn't swarm him like cops normally do, whether he had a knife or not.
Well,
that's like saying that, like, we could just say, well, no, the guy that they shot, he said, oh, no, I'm just here. I'm just doing this, that. We can make up this whole story about what he actually said. Like the cops are saying, oh, we tased and we did this and that. But no one's come forward to say that that's what happened, except for the police, who nobody trusts anymore. And for good reason. Nobody trusts them anymore. They don't deserve the trust of the people anymore.
No, trust me, I'm not pro cop, but they did go there on a call from the woman that said, this guy's here, he's done this and this before, and he's taking my keys, and this is gonna. And so the cops did go there knowing what the situation was and knowing who the person was, which is one thing that they have in their favor that the cops that killed George Floyd don't have, because they didn't know anything about this guy's history. And I don't like the digging into someone's past to justify what someone did is completely wrong and irrelevant in court.
The example for the one where the guy gets shot 7 times, some of the left are screaming that some of the right is screaming that he was a convicted pedophile. He had sexually assault against children. That is not the case. I'm not saying he's a good person, but you can't just take, because he has a sexual assault charge against the ex-girlfriend who is the mother of his children. That doesn't make him a good person, but throwing it into he's a pedophile, so that justifies him dying, and another pedophile of the street is just a good thing, is once again giving too much power to the police to just go and, oh, he's a pedophile, he's got a different set of rules that we can get away with.
Well, the president of the United States is a pedophile.
Right, well
yeah.
Well, would you let him do a guest set in front of you if you were working a club that weekend?
Who, the president of the United States?
No, the guy that got shot in the back 7 times, knowing his history and everything. I'm trying to pivot to a lighter sort of.
Dude, I can't even get Richard Lett kicked off.
Kathleen, how was the festival that you were at?
I was at the Winnipeg Comedy Festival for just one night. It was very fun. It was like very small, but they did a really great job. I love that festival because they treat us so well.
Yeah.
They treat Canadians so well. They drive you around, they pick you up, they pay you well, they treat you really well there, and it was so much fun. And
was it at the gas station theater?
Yeah, it was at the gas station theater, and I headlined the No Holds Bar show or something, whatever, the Dirty show.
Yeah.
And it was very, very fun. Crowd was like not huge, but it was enough people, and yeah, we had a good time. And it was kind of like weird because I did it with Sterling Scott, and we were both like at the end of the night, we're like, there's not that many comics that can say they did a festival in 2020.
Right. Now, were there any Americans there?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, it was all Canadians. They used a lot of locals for most of it.
I don't think anyone from Ontario was there either, right?
No, I don't think so, because you guys are persona non grata everywhere in Canada right now.
Right.
But I know they did a Zoom style show with Derek Sagan.
Yeah.
And but yeah. And then I was like, did they just did I just get this festival because no one else could go? And then I'm like, no, I got it because I'm good.
Well, no, you got it because you're good, but I mean, I'm sure they're. But yeah, I mean, but you're there and you're funny and yeah, you're accessible. So
I still find it like really kind of weird and ironic. Like when you do comedy in Canada, you're told your whole career, well, you got to get to Toronto. If you're not in Toronto or not in Vancouver, you're not really going to get anywhere. And now it's just like in Alberta, I've been working since May. I've been working more than I ever have at a theater tour in the fall. Like it's weird. Mm-hmm. But like, and then everyone in Ontario, I'm seeing people post like last week, I had my first show back and I'm like, in August? That's crazy.
Right.
Well, I have not been on stage as a headliner since I recorded my last album in January.
That's crazy.
Yeah. I also think the window for comics to be able to say, ooh, I haven't done this for a while, is getting smaller and smaller.
Yes.
So I think I think if you do a show in like a month from now, and if you say, I haven't done this since February, an audience might sort of be like, oh, really? Why is that? Or that's, I think that excuse is not going to hold as much water anymore. But now did they do TV galas this year?
No, I don't think they did.
What? Sorry, I was frozen.
At the Winnipeg Fest.
Winnipeg. Did they do TV galas? I don't think they did. Yeah, you're frozen. I don't think they did, Dave. I think they just did like kind of maybe, like you said, the Zoom type shows and then some live dates.
Yeah.
Because they couldn't they can't have an audience. It's a small.
Well, what was Kathleen? Do you know what the audience makeup was like? Were people sitting, or?
Yeah, they were distant. Like there was like a few rows.
Yeah.
Apart between, and if you were in a group, you were with your group. It was 6 feet apart. It was very socially distanced. It was, and everybody. I don't know if people were wearing masks in the crowd, but yeah, it wasn't. It didn't. I didn't feel unsafe. It didn't feel weird. But I know a lot of people in Winnipeg, because it went from 4 cases to like 30 or 40. So a lot of people in Winnipeg started to get scared.
Yeah.
And so one of the great things about that festival is that, they have a lot of parties afterwards where the comics can get together and be comics. Now with this, was there even an after party after your show, or did most people just kind of scatter?
Of course there was an after party. It was Kathleen McGee.
Right.
It was me and Sterling, and then Dana. Dana, oh God, I feel bad. I can't remember. What? She's married to Tim. Anyway, she was on the show, and Mike Green was on the show, and then we went and did a little show at the Handsome Daughter after our crowd work show.
Okay.
And then there was a birthday party for Chad Anderson. He had a birthday show at Wee Johnny's. So we kind of did a little pub crawl party. Nice. And then everybody was at Wee Johnny's at the end of the night. We all had drinks, and yeah, it was fun. It was like, it wasn't the same. Like, it wasn't the same as having all these different comics, but it was a good time. And they, they always treat us so good at that festival. That is like the one festival that is literally.
No, she cut off.
Well, it feels very much like a Canadians festival, as opposed to like a Montreal or even like a JFL sort of, East-West thing. Then
my only beef with that festival is, why is the icon from that city never at that festival? But we'll leave that alone.
Oh, well, you can say Kenny Robinson. So
you did. I didn't.
I did.
I'll
say it all the time.
Yeah, let's move on.
Hi, this is Ernest Borgnine. You're listening to Anything Goes with Darren Frost on Laugh Attack XM Radio.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Okay, can we just take 1 second? Just 1 second. I just gotta...
Yeah.
It's like Charlie Brown.
I just never know how loud I am with my fucking neighbors, and just if they have to scream and yell when I just project outside.
Oh, I see.
It's only what, 243, 143.
Yeah, I know, but I don't know. I have neighbors that blast their TV loudly too. I don't know why you need an episode of Friends to blast loud. So
yeah. So obviously something big this week in the news is the Black Panther passed away, so it's very interesting that he had cancer, never mentioned anything about it.
Chadwick Boseman.
Yes, Chadwick Boseman.
Yeah.
Never mentioned anything about it.
Yeah, sorry.
Okay, didn't say anything about it. And I'm surprised because the way the world is, paparazzi and finding out anything about everyone, that it was kept secret. Because even when someone of that size goes to a hospital, TMZ is all over it. I mean, they really kept it quiet. And that was pretty shocking.
And even he was like losing weight and looking really, and people were like saying, "Oh, what's wrong with him? He's anorexic." Like people were actually being rude to him.
Yes.
Well, what was funny was that like he was in an interview after Black Panther, and the interviewer said, so you had to lose weight to play Thurgood Marshall. Mm-hmm. And then he had to gain a bunch of weight to play the Black Panther. And so this interviewer said to him, like, "Oh my God, well this must have been really hard on your body. Like, how do you go through something like that? How do you prepare for it?" And then he said in the interview, he said, "You have no idea how hard it was, and one day you'll realize what I was going through to get to play both of those characters." He said, "One day you'll find out what it took for me to get to be in that physical condition." But you think about the black icons that he portrayed. Mm-hmm. He was like Thurgood Marshall, James Brown, Jackie Robinson, mm-hmm. and it is weird that this comic book character he was most noted for is the Black Panther. And so it's just and the fact that it's amazing that he didn't tell anyone. And it's the one other person that I can think of that died of pancreatic cancer was Bill Hicks, who he kept that sickness to his grave, and he told his family.
Did he though? I thought comics kind of knew.
I think comics. Well, but comics knew about the Bill Cosby rape allegations too, but didn't say.
No. I understand. Yeah.
But I mean,
people. It's something about cancer that people are more likely to keep it to themselves, and it's because it's such a scary and personal disease that, like, I think, it's up to the person to decide if they want to announce to the world that they have it, or if they want to just fight it quietly.
Right. Well,
so I think that's what he did.
And I also think sometimes celebrities mentioning it, they don't want to come across as like, look, now I'm a cancer survivor, or now I'm this. I mean, I think a lot of actors that sort of don't reveal part of their personal life, it's a lot about them just sort of being true to their craft of being an actor, and they just want to be seen as someone playing these roles rather than now I'm a this. It always kind of creeps me out of just like, when tragedy happens to some people and then they start waving that tragic flag around, it's sort of like, well, are you now happy that you got it, or is it like, or now it just seems like you're using it as some weird publicity thing for yourself.
Well, and who knows if he would have lost out on roles if he had told people he had cancer.
Oh, like 100%. Yes. See, to me, I have got no fight in the idea of he kept it to himself, because that's a personal decision. I'm just surprised that he was able to in the world that we live in, and he was such a star that, if you eat corn and shit the next day, everyone knows the way the world is. You know what I mean? And it's just like so much information.
Kelly Preston also passed away this year. I didn't know she had cancer. She had cancer for 4 years.
Yeah.
And that wasn't really...
Yes, that was another example, yeah.
So I think it is possible to keep things quiet. I think the shocking thing is that because of the way the world is now and everybody shares absolutely every detail of their life, it is shocking when something happens and we're like, oh, they never told anybody, or nobody ever found out. So that's the crazy part.
And no family member, leaked it or, said anything or, it's...
And he married his girlfriend in the hospital.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I didn't know that either.
Yeah.
Well, it's interesting that, I think nowadays with like show business and stuff like that, and this quest for, or this, desire for attention, I think a lot of the times when people do come out when they have a disease, you probably know that there's a publicist behind it going like, you know what, if you mention that you had this horrible disease, it could be some opportunities for you.
You can get on Ellen. You can go on the Tonight Show. You can go on. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So it's just, it's just there's a sickness to fame that sometimes people will use, it's like people going into rehab. Like there used to be not a shame to it, but now it's like people announce that they're going into rehab just to get their name out there more.
Oh, Dr. Drew. That whole TV show Dr. Drew is based on people going on to revitalize their career. Now, there's a very interesting story with him. Do you know that in the 90s, I think, or maybe early thousands, I don't know which decade it was, he was hired to play on a soap opera. It was, I think it was All My Children.
Who was? Sorry, who?
Chadwick.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So he was hired. No, he was hired. And after a week, they replaced him with the other Black Panther actor, last name Jordan, Michael B. Jordan.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Because he felt that the character was playing too many stereotypes of a Black gang member. So he had the gig, turned it down, and then Michael B. Jordan took the role over and played that role for 3 years.
Yeah.
I mean, this guy is someone who stood up for what he felt was right his whole career.
Right.
Not just once you're a big star and you have a lot of money and you got fuck you money. I mean, that was a sweet gig at the time, and he had nothing else going on. And when you hear that story, you're like, well, shit, this guy, the fucking real deal.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's not a lot of integrity in Hollywood.
Right.
So
It is just nice to know that there are good people and people that do have integrity in the world. It's just nice to know that it exists.
Right.
And then unfortunately, we lose them to cancer.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Darren brought this up as something we could bring in and talk about, but it's like when you talk about integrity, I mean, Jim Gaffigan went on a bit of a Twitter storm, as someone could so, and then, and there are all these people that are sort of like, oh, well, let's Jim, you're going to be losing fans.
Well, let's back up.
Okay.
Because people may not know the story. So just give a backstory to then, and you can continue. So Jim Gaffigan watches the RNC debate and footage, and he doesn't like what he sees, and he's anti-Trump, and he started saying anti-Trump things publicly for the first time on his social media in a long time. Well, in the past, he has done some anti-Trump, but for the most part, he's been apolitical or seen that way.
Right.
And so some of his fans, who are Trump fans, start dogging him, and his retort to one is, fuck you, Karen.
Right.
And that lit up the whole social media world because here is this guy seen as apolitical, Catholic comic, clean comic, actually says fuck. Like they think he's never said fuck before. That's what I find hysterical.
Right.
It's like, yes, he has an image. Yes, he has a business to run. But you know what? Just because he says fuck, now his whole world's going to end? Like there's people trying to cancel him and all this. And I'm like, really? Like,
well, it's so funny that like whenever I hear any sort of right-wing conservative talking about cancel culture, it's like their idol Donald Trump is literally, I think it's like he's called for boycotts for over like something like 40 businesses, or even I think it's even more than that. But he wanted to boycott Starbucks, he wanted to boycott the NFL, the NBA, Goodyear, exactly, yeah. And it's sort of like your president is the king of cancel culture, and you got to just shut the fuck up about this. It's sort of like, and also these people that are just sort of like, when they talk about comedians, well, they talk about comedians and musicians and actors when they're all like, hey, you should stick to acting, or you should stick to comedy, or stick to music. It's like, the Dixie Chicks were all like, just shut up and play, and sports figures are like, oh, just shut up and dribble. It's like, but then they fucking love it when Ted Nugent shows up on Fox
100%
and gives any sort of opinion. They're like, look at this guy. Yep. And it's sort of like there's video footage of him wanting to shove a fucking shotgun up Hillary Clinton's ass. And he said that on stage.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
that's why you can't take the far right or even the far left seriously. They're all hypocritical. Yeah. They're all very hypocritical because if it's not what they like or something, then it's bad. But if somebody that they like does the exact same thing, then they're a good person. So you can't do what any of these people say.
I remember a couple of years ago, I went and saw the band Midnight Oil. They came back. They're an Australian band. They don't tour here very often. I went and saw them. But before I went to the concert, I looked up, a few shows before, some footage, some reviews. And one person actually commented, it's like he went to the concert and was extremely disappointed because all the lead singer did was talk about politics and was anti-Trump. I'm like, I'm sorry. But if you're going to a Midnight Oil fucking concert and don't know that they're anti-Trump and they're political, their whole basis of their career is politics. He quit the band to join Australian politics. This is a band that can't be any more political than they're like more political than Rage Against the Machine. And you're upset that they're spreading their. You're a fucking idiot. It's like this whole Jim Gaffigan thing. I think Karen wants to be pissed off because he said "fuck you, Karen." 100%. Karen's mom wants to be pissed off. 100%. But people who don't know Karen, who don't have any tie to Karen, and they're gonna get that upset because one person said "fuck you, Karen." You need to get a fucking life. That's my opinion.
I mean, the guy opened up for the Pope, you know? It's sort of like, you know, every comedian wants to be like, oh, look who I opened up for. I opened up for Jim Gaffigan opened up for the Pope. And it just seems like people can't seem to brush off the whole like, it's just his opinion. I like his comedy, but that's his opinion. People can't separate opinions from the artist. They can with actors, though. I mean, you know, it's like an actor can seem to play like the most despicable, horrible, murderous, rapist person in a role, and he doesn't catch any shit. But neither does the director. Doesn't sometimes catch shit. It's just, I don't know. Movies seem to be something that sort of get a free pass a lot of times.
Well, that happened to me on a small scale this week because I posted about Kyle Rittenhouse, and then this guy came after me a little bit, and he said, hey, I like your comedy, and I think your comedy is really great, but this is really stupid that you're going so hard for this guy. And I was just like, well, I mean, that's nice that you like my comedy, but I guess we have opposing moral values, and I think you're racist. And if you don't like being called racist, then that's too bad, because that's what you look like right now.
Right.
And, I might lose another Red Deer fan.
Well, it's just funny that, like, back, you know, I mean, in the 70s and 80s and even, like, early 90s, well, I guess any time before now, it's like we never really knew the constant opinions of like what George Clooney would have said about, or what he thought about, you know, actors and, you know, musicians and comedians sort of speak their minds, but it's just, we didn't really know a lot about sort of the personal opinions and political leanings of some people. But
I just think it's funny, you know, like Jim Gaffigan goes to a political rally, and then he just, stands up and goes, look, if you're not going to start talking about Hot Pockets, I'm fucking out of here. I mean, like, come on. Like, what do you want from your people that you buy their records from?
That's also like saying to a plumber, I don't want to hear your political opinion. You plumb. Shut the fuck up. I don't want to hear your political opinion. Or a lawyer. I don't want to hear about your political opinion. You're a lawyer. Just lawyer. Like, everyone is a person. Everyone has their own opinions and own political opinions, and people shouldn't be shocked when someone that they idolize has a different opinion from them.
But you know what, to be honest, if my plumber's knee-deep in shit, I don't really care what he thinks about Justin Trudeau. My thing is like, fix my toilet, fuckface.
Yeah,
fix my toilet.
That's true.
Yeah, well, yeah, I still think it's so funny when, you know, how angry conservatives were at Justin Trudeau's, you know, makeup mistakes.
Yeah.
They embrace it. Oh, he did blackface, but it's sort of like, well, you know, it's.
So did you in 1992.
I couldn't stop doing blackface.
So, Dave, we just got a couple of minutes left because we're coming up on the hour, but I want to talk about this porn review thing.
Oh, yeah, you really, really want us to talk about this porn review.
Yeah.
Did you read it?
I read it. I thought it was supposed to be funny.
Well, I think it is funny. I think it's funny that like this guy, whoever, you know, let me pull it up.
So give some backup to it. It's just a porn review of a clip, right?
Well, no, it's not even a review of a clip. There's the actual video, but then the guy in it, I guess the clip is the name of the clip is, well, and this I don't understand what the love of incest is, but stepson's friend saw a stepmom lolly lips in the bathroom and fucked her. Okay,
but that's not incest. That's not even a relation to that woman.
Yeah. No, that's not a review. But then the one point that this guy does the review is his name is the Locomotive.
Yeah.
And then also there's this side guy, why are you giving a review of...
Hey, just say what he said. Just say what he said. Go ahead.
Okay, this is what he says. Honestly, I don't want to be horny. I barely feel anything when I jack off. The only reason I still do it is to feel something. I don't want to jack off. I want to be loved. I want someone to care about me and to treasure me. Want someone that I can give everything to, someone I can spend the rest of my life with. I just want to be happy. I mean, this sounds like borderline suicide note, but this guy seems to be desperate for a friend, and also he's leaving this on the Pornhub comment page.
I know.
Maybe get off Pornhub and get on eHarmony.
Or anything. I mean,
or what I found funny is a couple comments later, someone's like, "Hey, let's just play some PS4 together. Like that's gonna solve his problem."
Well,
like,
but honestly, it does give you a bit of an idea of what a community this is,
Sure.
which I find still that a guy. There's no financial incentive for a guy to take his best fuck movies and then he just isolates all this is the best tit fuck scene, and then he compiles a whole bunch of tit fuck scenes together, and then he just puts it out there because he feels like I like this and other people like this, so I'll give it out to the community.
Yeah.
So the first response to that guy, to the locomotives thing, I'll post this photo while we're talking about it.
Yeah,
so if people want to read it, but it says, so the first guy says, and his name is.
Well, first of all, wait a second. First of all, who hasn't just jacked off to feel something that day? I mean, I've done that.
That's all I do.
There's days where you don't feel anything. You jack off to make you feel something.
You feel feelings when you masturbate?
Pardon me?
I guess I'm not that dead inside.
When you masturbate?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, sometimes it's just kind of, I want to get it out of the way.
When you make love to yourself.
There we go.
Oh, trust me, I'm taking advantage of me.
Yeah.
I scold myself and go, where were you yesterday when I needed you?
I dump a full beer on my hand. Like I take advantage of it.
But I mean, yeah, it's not like I'm saving my leftovers to. But so the first response to this review is everything all right, man? If you want, we can talk, or if you'd like, we could play some video games, which I think is a sweet thing. This guy's This is like Porn Addicts Anonymous, and this guy just wants to go like, hey, let's go for a coffee after our.
He's talking him off the ledge of coming.
Right. He says, hey, if you want to talk later, we could play some video games. If you want to add me on PS4, it is I can't read his video game handle. I can play Warzone with you or something that doesn't.
This isn't going to help this guy get laid.
No.
Going and playing video games with another nerd on Pornhub.
Right.
Oh, right.
So, the thing about this is, like, when people complain online about, like, nobody loves me or stuff, you need to start looking at yourself.
Of course.
Right, I know.
You
but
need to start looking, like, how do I live? What am I hygienic? Do I give off a horrible vibe to women? Like, you have to try. You have to try.
Oh, yeah.
Or you have to try. Or you have to lower your standards, which a lot of men refuse to do.
Right, exactly. And also,
go ahead.
Oh, okay. No, I was just also saying, or try to figure out what your pluses are and not what your minuses are, and try to sort of build towards your pluses. But also, I mean, but women are incredibly hard creatures to figure out. And this guy is also living in a porn world where he literally just watches videos all day.
Right.
He's like, it's like he just literally watches videos all day where he just sees like a guy and a girl together, and then out of nowhere she just gets on her knees and immediately undoes his pants.
Yeah, right.
And at no point is she like, oh, you don't have any underwear. That's weird.
First of all, he has to realize how much is he putting himself out there to be able to find someone. That's a huge thing. I mean, I wasted 10 years of my life because I knew I had too high expectations. And they weren't high expectations. They were unattainable expectations. So that means I didn't have to date someone. Yeah. So I had to do my own work to figure that out. That's a huge thing. And that's what I think a lot of people do. And this idea of, I've always listened to, there's a line by The Pursuit of Happiness that I think is the greatest thing about dating. And it says, I don't care if she's skinny, I don't care if she's fat, as long as she goes for boys like me because I like them like that. This is the problem with the world, that the dating world, influenced by porn and social media, it's like you're not letting people get to know you personally to see if they like you. You're shutting it down too quickly. You're finding reasons to say no. And if you do that, you're never going to have anything. And I think there's a lot of that going on.
It's a superficial world, too. Like, even when I was on dating apps, it was like women were all looking for a man that was 6 feet or taller, and then men wanted a hot chick that was skinny and was like down to fuck at all times. And it's just like, people are not realistic. Like, you say you want love, but you're on a porn site begging for love. You're on a site where you're looking at women that are, I'm pretty sure, probably completely unattainable to this person.
Right.
And then they get mad. Like, I'm sure it happens. I find it more that men get bitter with love because I guess women can be awful. We can be terrible and we can be mean. And but I've been rejected lots by guys that I thought, I'm like, why would you reject me? I'm great. And then, but I don't just go and sit and pout in a corner and be like, no one's ever going to love me because this girl that just friend zoned me didn't want to love me. Well, yeah, that's a good thing that you know that person, why would you waste your time on that person if they're not interested in you?
Well, you know, I mean, I think that, I mean, a lot of guys get intimidated by like a very, but like a lot of guys get intimidated by confident women. So, and
yeah, but I don't. That's a whole bunch of horse shit.
No,
You know what? There's a lot of women that aren't confident, and he's probably not that confident, and they can meet, and they can fuck, and they can have a relationship.
Yeah.
There doesn't always have to be one super confident and one not so confident because they bring each other up or bring down.
Yeah.
I don't. That just.
No, but also I think, and rightfully so, I think women have a lot higher standards of what they want from a guy than maybe they did, you know, 20 or 30 years ago. It's just, you know, and then
I think the
they
exact
also express
opposite.
that.
I think the exact opposite. I
think they have
people,
lower standards?
I think as people age, they reset what their expectations can be. I think when you're 18 or 19, you've been sold a bullshit world through movies and media and games and porn, and then you get to fucking 31 and you're like, I haven't fucked in a long time. I haven't had any meaningful relationship in a long time. I've got to not lower my standards. I've got to change my standards. It's not about lowering, because there's a lot of hot, not confident women out there. And there's a lot of really confident, ugly chicks. And it's ugly because how confident they are. It has nothing to do with their looks.
Well, yeah, and also men and women look for different things in a partner in the beginning, but then also the longevity of a relationship. You have to find more common ground and more things in common with if you want to stay with, if you hope to stay with that person. It's just, I mean, that's why men will cycle through trophy wives, because then they get bored of what they liked in someone.
Men are always more attracted, and physical attractiveness is more of a big thing for them than women in a long-term relationship. A woman generally hooks up with a guy the first date. They may be attractive, but by date 3 or 4, I did a project in university. By 3 or 4, the looks mean nothing. Whereas men, that lasts much longer.
What was this project that you did?
At university, I did about attractiveness in dating.
Okay, well, and then what, did you do surveys?
No, I had to do some surveys, but also looking at other research, and it showed that, you know, women, physical attractiveness is not as important as is in men in long-term relationships, because they attach themselves to the person, not the image. Where men are so superficial, they still try to attach in a long-term relationship to image and not the person. Not all, but some.
I've dated guys before that I wasn't initially attracted to, but then they were funny or they were fun. And then I'm like, yeah, Dave's a good man.
Right there.
Then after a while, then the magic wears off. And then
the magic wears off real fast.
And I draw my card and everything fucking falls apart. I have to say, I have to read the second response that this guy got was, hey man, you're not alone. Life can be really tough, but just remember, things are going to work out. It might be differently than you expected, but that's okay. Look at this. This is like heartwarming. I believe in you, man. Keep going. Keep trying. And, you know, the guy could have said, keep jerking off. You're going to be, you know, it's a big world out there.
Yeah.
And then, of course, the next comment is very nice. Who agree like? And then immediately it's other trolls going
That's a bot,
Then Miss Titty says, have fun watching it and please leave a comment. Or you know, check out my box on this next clip or something like that. But yeah, those first two comments were sort of like, it just, people live in such an isolated world where they live through their computers and through these chat rooms, and you know, I mean, my heart kind of goes out.
People are lonely. I mean, the movie Magnolia still stands up, and we're 20, 25 years later. People are lonely, and they're looking for things online that they're not getting through their real life.
Right, but then also people don't realize that online isn't real life. You know, it's like,
everybody realizes that they just don't want to believe it.
Right.
Well, yeah.
And it can be the start to something real in your life.
Sure, it can. I mean, you know, like I've met people online that have. Like,
yeah, you have.
Like
you love using Facebook like a dating app.
Not.
Yeah, you do.
I like meeting new people. Is that true?
There we go.
That's my favorite. It's some strange man wants to add me on Facebook, and I'm like, oh, and they don't message you, they just add you, and then they're like, hello, beautiful, and it's just like, do I know you? And they're like, no, but would you like to get to know me? I'm like, not at all.
Yeah.
Well, you know, I like new people, and I like. Well, do I like new people?
You're a people person, Dave.
I'm a people person. And
You're a people person. You're just not a. You're just not a. Well, maybe you are a womanizer, but you're not a successful womanizer.
Well, I think I like people that don't know anything about me. That's what.
Yeah, there we go.
There we go. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's a wheel. That's a wheel you got to spin. You got to keep spinning that wheel, Dave. You got to keep spinning that wheel.
Yeah, blood, sweat, and tears.